Hi, my name is Steph, and I'm here today with my friend Nancy. And Nancy is the mom of 8 children, and several of her children have special needs that run the spectrum from Down syndrome to autism scale and a couple of other gut-related issues in between. And I wanted to ask her today, how old is your oldest one, Nancy?
24.
24, and your youngest is?
9.
9. So you've been in the trenches of mothering for a long time now, and you've walked the path of these different challenges, and then children coming in on all ranges of this, from normal to very not normal to abnormal. And I wanted to ask you today if you could boil down maybe 1 or 2 tips or perspective that you could pass along to any mom who finds herself walking that path of finding out that her child doesn't fit normal, whatever the world says that normal is, and to varying degrees of whatever that might be. But what can you pass along to her that you've learned through the trials of the last few years and the triumphs along the way as well?
Well, first, a lot of people say, when I would say, oh, this kid's not normal, they would say, nobody's normal, and they're right. Nobody is normal.
Yeah.
Everybody is different, and we all have quirks and stuff like that. But what we're talking about is truly special needs versus typical in your average Joe kid. It depends on when you find out too. Is it before you're going to have your baby, or when your baby's brand new, or later? Some of ours, we found out our daughter had Down syndrome. Actually, not when she was born, but when she went for her PKU.
Wow.
4 days later, her birth certificate says she's normal or typical.
Yeah.
But but that was still early on. And then some of our other, and we didn't realize some of the autism stuff until later. So we kind of had it all different times,
Right.
except for the beforehand thing.
Yeah.
And at first, it's just it just doesn't seem fair, and you feel so sorry for your child. I did, especially with our daughter with Down. So it was just like, oh, I'm so glad she was in me, and she was a twin too. I'm
Right.
so glad she was in me and not somebody else who would have cut her out.
Yeah.
But still, you feel sorry for them, and yet after you get to knowing them and all of that stuff, you realize they're just people, just like we are, and they want to be loved and all of that. But sometimes they're not very lovable, especially with the autism. It's just ick a lot of times. And but I didn't want to just give in to what I love to look up on the internet, and a lot of the basic internet sites, for the Autism Society or even the Down Syndrome Society or whatever will say, well, this is how it is, and you can go get behavioral therapy or whatever.
But it doesn't necessarily give you a lot of hope for the future of your child.
No, it's kind of like, well, sorry, but this is just how it is. And as I've gotten into all my alternative research and diet and everything, and I realize a lot of it is gut related. I've learned we've used special diets to help, especially our autistic daughter. We used a nutritional intervention for our daughter with Down syndrome. When she was 7 months old, she had failure to thrive. She was tiny, she didn't eat, she laid around constantly, and we started giving her basically vitamins and stuff that a doctor in California had recommended at the time. And we watched her perk up and start growing, and it wasn't just because suddenly she was 8 months old. It was an obvious difference. And that's when I started going, oh, nutrition, it really, can even help here, even in these, seemingly you're stuck in it places.
Right.
At this point, because our daughter's she's a teenager now, it could be that she will always have some autistic traits and stuff. But with the diet, and just nutritional help and all of that stuff, helping heal on the gut. We've learned about the GAPS diet, gut and psychology syndrome. It's helped so much already, and it's something to hope,
So you've learned to have hope for these children.
Yeah.
Even the ones that have these seemingly devastating labels, and how to have hope for them in their future, despite the fact that these, these large labels, they qualify for these large labels. I'm sure any mom out there who's in the trenches will be very encouraged by your story and where you've come from and where you're going. And I know your family personally, and like I said, it's so delightful. You're so real about the struggles, and it's not all rosy, but it's also, there's so much hope there, and it's just amazing to interact with your children, because the work you've done with the nutrition and everything else just shows so clearly, and it's just a really neat thing. So I appreciate you taking the time to talk with me today
Thanks.
about it all.